Welcome back to the second part of the realistic game tutorial series. Um, I am going to be focusing on three things today: environment, setting, and realism. Okay, so let's go ahead and start out with setting. Okay, so what setting, it comes down to basically two things within setting. Number one is like place. So if your game is set in like the rainforest, you don't want to have like wide open area like this. You want to have a lot of trees. So you want to choose a place. It could be like if you're making like a fantasy game or something, it doesn't have to be focused on one place. But if you're doing like a place that is specific, like a shrine in Japan, or I don't know, just a random forest. You don't want to have just like I don't know, a gray wall in the middle of your build. Like you don't want to have that. So that's number one. Number two is like realism. So like what I'm gonna have you do, if it's like morning, like you're just waking up, you can go all the way up to lightning. You can click plus and you go down to blur effect. Now blur effect is going to seem really big. You want to go down to size, and I like to go about maybe 6 or less. Nothing bigger than 10, because 10 is just too blurry. But like 6 seems nice for my game, so it's a little blurry, but it's not too blurry. Like it's like feels like sticky outside, like kind of like a dream, almost like, you know. Um, so another thing I want to do is like I'm going to focus on what people can see out of here, because if there's just like a couple of trees, you're going to obviously be able to see past it. So what I like to do is, this is personally me, I like to go to the forest pack that I covered in my last tutorial, and I like to go to the rocks or big trees or something, and I like to scale them up, not like that, but like this, and place them in the ground and kind of far away, so that if you're over here, you just see that big rock in the sky. Or you could even do a big tree. You could put it just on the outside or farther away, and it looks like a giant tree. Um, but for my tutorial, I am going to be using a giant rock, and multiple rocks for that matter. Just stretch it. It can even be like 2D if you really wanted it to be, but I just think putting in some detail into it is just as needed as like your actual terrain. So I'm gonna quick grab this one. I'm gonna put it all the way back here, because I'm gonna scale it up really big, and I'm gonna put it like that. I'm gonna duplicate it, rotate it, make sure it's rotated like that, so it's like two giant mountains. I am gonna put this one a little bit more back because it is bigger, so then it looks like that. Okay, so now obviously you don't have to copy what I'm doing, like I'm just have a tree there for reference. But another thing I'm going to cover is waterfalls. Now a lot of people like waterfalls in your game and whatnot, so I'm going to be, first of all, choose a place for your waterfall. Okay, and so you're going to go up to the terrain editor again. You're going to go back to add and rock, and go back to our same settings like that. That is good. And this time you don't even have to do the manual plane lock. You can just go on top of where you want it and just use a few clicks and then do that. And then what we can do is go smoothen and just smooth it out so it's nice and like together like that. You can even go like 2D and just do that. Now I am going to go to plugins. This is free. Go all the way over to Waterfall Generator and I'm gonna click it. Now this is gonna you're gonna click a place to start your waterfall. So I'm gonna click at the top here and you click and drag, and now you can move it down like that, and then once you let it go you can edit it over here. So you can go transparency, you can go speed, you can mess around with stuff, upper width then lower width. You can choose realistic, cartoon. Like the realistic ones are like that's realistic. If we go to cartoon like that, oop, went too far. Okay, or you could go to other, then apply your own textures, or even that's me. But yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and oh, what is happening? Sorry, I'm going back to my editor. You just want to make it all smooth. Make sure you're doing that when you do the waterfall. So I'm gonna go back and it'll be placed as a part. So just find the middle and drag it out. You can even give it a little room like that. Actually, I'm gonna give it a little less room. And it's like the fine tuning is really what it comes down to in the end. Like that looks good. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the editor again, but this time I'm gonna go to paint, click on water. So if I do that, it'll turn into water. Oh, undid my thing. Let's go back to grass and just fill that in. Nope. Okay. Now if we go back, I'm just gonna make just a wide-ish pool of water like this. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the add and add a little rock. Just add if I scale it down, that seems good. Okay, so now just go ahead and again do it around the edges. You don't have to do this. I just think it's nice to make kind of like an enclosed pool. That does seem a little bit big, so I am gonna move it down to like that. So it's a fair height. Now you can mess around with the terrain tools and stuff like that. There's definitely plugins you can get and other stuff that'll help you. Don't want to have the the waterfall be covered up though, so I'm just gonna go ahead and attach it right here to well, this little ring, and I'm going to then go to smooth, and I'm just smooth the top out just so it's nice and stuff. And so now to finish up the waterfall, the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over to the rocks, and I'm gonna I can grab a small one and a large one, and I'll grab these both and bring them back over. And so now I'm going to put them at the top here. Like this. And then this one. Just make a duplicate. I am going to turn this to the side just so it has a nice back to it. Bring it out a little bit more. And then the last one I'll place here and adjust it so that I can I'm gonna shrink it down a little bit, not too much though, so that we have a nice waterfall feature in our game now, which is very, I would say for new developers, very exciting to kind of have that little start. Didn't mean to click that. But I believe that is going to be all for this part. There is going to be a part 3, which I'm going to be showing you setting up intro GUIs and more. So I would really appreciate it if you guys would help me by subscribing and hitting the notification bell. It just helps me out, and it helps me create amazing videos like these. So that would really help me out. So if we go back in our game though, let it load. Depending on how well your graphics are, you may see some of the stuff like the rocks in the background. For me, I placed it too far away, like you only have a certain amount of view. But thank you for joining me in this tutorial, and it's been amazing making them. So I will see you guys in the next one.